Hello, and welcome to the Splain. Dan Rothenberg and Joe Klosik, two guys trying to figure it out. Not the right wing, not the brosphere. Left of center, with humor and empathy. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the Splain.
Welcome to the Splain. Please like and subscribe us. This is a big day for the Splain.
Huge.
Yeah, I can tell.
It is. It is a big
But
day.
we are going to branch out into interviewing
Yeah.
a young comedian from San Francisco and merging our minds with him, letting in. In order to Splain, you have to let in information
Yeah, that's well put.
and
Yeah.
connect with people. So we're gonna, yeah.
So
What's his name?
uh, Marcus Howard.
Marcus Howard.
And this is the
Okay.
first. This is our rebranding, so to speak. So
Mm-hmm.
we're going to spend more time bringing in other comedians, talking to them. Hopefully,
Mm-hmm.
we will get some large names. I put some
Yep.
feelers out there. But I also do want to focus on the local comedians because
Yeah.
that is really like, I think anybody who's had the experience, and tell me if I'm wrong about this, anybody who's had the experience, no matter how big you get or where
Yeah.
you jump off the train, those early days of being in the city and establishing yourself, the friendships, the camaraderie, the adventure, that's where it's at. So we want to try to
Yes.
capture some of
The
that.
friends and the life, the insulated life that you love
Yeah.
and are just addicted to. It is, if I have one regret when I look back, it's I did not just appreciate just doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's something
Same.
special
Yeah.
about just doing it. Now, again, if you're doing it and you never work and you never get hired, and then you might kind of have to do something else.
Yeah. And there
But
are those comedians. We're not going to interview them.
yeah, we don't need to bother with that.
Yeah, yeah.
Certainly. But it's a very special, interesting life. And from Seinfeld on down, the one thing all comedians talk about is the friendships,
Yeah.
because you're with people, you're always laughing, you're always it gets really dark, and
You go through
I
some
miss
shit.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You go through some shit and you see other people going through some hard times, and I mean, yeah, there was some stuff that happened along the way that was really painful and really real, and I was lucky that you were a good friend and helped me get through some of those things. And I've seen some other comedians go through some really hard stuff. I'm also, I'm forever curious about guys that just disappeared, like completely fell off the map.
Right.
And no matter
Right.
how much looking online, I can't track them down. No matter, and rarely does anybody quit stand up completely. Like there's people that might
Right.
move and decide, you know what, I'm going to full time do this job, and I've got a wife now. But even they will still go to shows,
It's-
participate.
Right.
But there are a couple of people that just have completely disappeared, and they just want nothing to do with that lifestyle anymore. And that is fascinating to me.
That why is that fascinating? I mean,
Well,
I assume they're just done.
they're just done. I mean, it makes me wonder about the experience that they had. To completely go, okay, I don't want to do that anymore, because I think if you've had any kind of real success, and by real success, I'm saying, like, let's say you're a regular opener at the Punchline in San Francisco. That is local success. That
Yeah.
is real, tangible success.
That's something. My
That is
dad, I'll
something.
tell you something. My dad said something to me recently. He was trying to be funny, and he's been reasonably supportive of all of my endeavors. But he joked with me, and he's trying to financially, as much as he can, help Charlie. And he sort of said, let's that depends. I asked him a question. You going to pay for the It depends if he's going to grad school or if he's featuring at Cobb's. He didn't mean it. It's funny.
Yeah.
That's
That's-
actually not nice. He didn't mean it.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah,
said,
yeah,
I tell you what
yeah.
I said to him. I said, Dad, you know how fucking hard it is to feature at Cobb's?
Yeah.
That's hard.
That's a big,
That is
big
hard
deal.
work.
That is
To
a big
date,
deal.
that's my biggest accomplishment.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, and I'm good with that. I there yeah, I'm a therapist, whatever. Here's a new installment of the
Oh. Oh
Splain,
man, well, there's a lot
which we're
happening.
calling Am I a Dick?
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. I feel like there should be
Oh,
a.
okay. So I
Am I a dick?
am I a dick? I want to know. You tell me.
Oh boy.
Um, okay, so this has to do with interacting with the younger generation and the trend of snowflakeism
Hmm.
that's happening, which I try to be very supportive. I like to think of myself as recognizing. Look at my fucking. Look at there. There you go. Didn't even plan it. Look at the number of snowflakes I have on my shirt. I love uh, whatever young people want to be. I want to support it. But sometimes
This is quite a preamble, buddy.
okay, here we
This
go.
makes me nervous.
So this is what happened. I was visiting a nonprofit which will remain nameless to give some costuming. My son volunteered, did some costuming, so I was there in a positive way. So maybe I wanted some positive vibes from the person working there. Now,
Mm.
so I'm like, I'm here to give these capes that my son made. And I said, the person working there, the spelling of her name is Liza. Now, how would you pronounce that?
Liza? Liza? Liza?
Liza.
Liza.
Liza. I said,
Liza.
hi, Liza. She looked at me and said, Liza. Okay. I have never heard of the name Liza before. Have you?
I mean, I not no no I have
I've
not.
heard of Lisa. I've heard of Liza. And she said, Liza. And I feel like saying
Did she really say it like that? Like be because
yes.
okay,
Yes. Yeah, I
okay.
felt like she said it like that. And
And you said,
may,
"Listen, you young bitch. You had no idea what I fought for. I fought for the rights so that you could have a stupid name." Is that what you
exactly.
said? Yeah.
No, I just felt like first of all, no, you're wrong. You're wrong about your name. Liza.
You
Liza.
can't tell someone they're wrong about their name.
I okay, my name is Dan, right? If I one day said to you, "No, it's Dane," I think no, it's not.
Well,
It's
yeah. If
not.
one day you came out of the blue and started correcting me like Joe, it's Dane. Yes, I would be like, what? But if the first time I met you and I saw a name tag that said Dan and I said,
I know,
hey,
but no,
Dan,
okay.
and then you
Maybe
corrected
I'm
me.
all right, but why? If you're going to have a unique name, have it be clear and grammatical. Have the spelling clear. That because you're going to spend your whole life in that conversation. Liza. Is it Liza? No, Liza. Lisa. Do you know what I mean? That's
Yeah, I
that's
mean, but that's
your
just,
main.
I know, but she's just young, right? She's young and she's just trying to be different, right? Like, I remember there was a waitress that worked forever ago. I was in my 20s and her name was Jennifer. I mean, that's how it was
Mhm.
spelled on the name tag. It said Jennifer,
Jennifer,
right?
Gennifer. Yeah.
She she corrected everybody and said, no, it's Genet. I'm like, well, okay, but
No, it's not. No,
yeah,
wrong.
exactly. And we were all like, but that's not how.
Then spell it
Yeah,
differently.
yeah.
Then spell it. No, how can you say no when there's 0% chance I'm going to get this right?
But
So
that's
now,
there.
have you heard of this?
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Have you heard of them like Malcolm Gladwell doing your 10,000 hours to become great at something?
Yeah.
Your 10,000 hours is now miscommunication. That is what you're going to do with most of your life. You need to
Yeah.
get a life. That
By the
you've
time
set yourself.
by the time she's 35, it's just going to be Lisa. All right, she's going to change it to Lisa
Okay.
because
Now
she's going
I
to
could be
realize.
wrong. Now I'm going to admit I might be wrong. Is Liza a thing? Is it possible
It could
her
be.
parents said you're Liza?
Absolutely. Maybe
If that's the case, I apologize.
maybe her parents had a lisp.
If here's the point. If you're gonna I am my line with snowflaking is spelling. Spelling. You know? Let's all agree on spelling. If you're they, them, awesome.
Did she
Okay?
also give you her pronouns?
No,
Okay.
we didn't get
We
that
didn't get
far.
that far because
Wait,
you slapped her and she called 911.
Joe.
Could Can we also back
I did.
up? Like, did I just hear you say you donated capes to a nonprofit? Is there like
Mhm.
a superhero home for the ailing or something? Is there?
My awesome son was doing a thing for a while called Capes for Kids, where
Okay.
chronically ill
Oh,
kids who
Jesus.
went through like these amazing operations,
Okay.
he made a
Wow.
cape to their specifications. So like a cape with their,
Oh.
so they could be little
Oh, that's
superheroes.
beautiful. Okay.
So your fucking name's Liza if I say it is. You got it? Are we clear?
Okay, so
All
I'm
right.
gonna say I don't think
Am I
you're a dick,
okay?
but I do think you're old. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have our first ever official guest on the Splain. Marcus, no pressure, but you're going to set the tone for the rest of history. Please
Yes.
welcome San
Hey, how's
Francisco's
it going,
own
guys?
Marcus Howard, everyone.
Happy to be
Welcome,
Marcus
here.
Marcus.
Howard. All right. Thank you for
Yeah,
thank you for being on.
Happy New Year to
The
you two both
Splain.
as well.
Happy New
You
Year
guys
to you.
do anything cool for your New Year's?
Thank you. Thank you.
You too.
Oh,
I opted not to do a stand-up show, which kind of
Hmm.
blew me away. But that is some of what I've learned over the years. Is like, you know what? I am going to invest in my relationship, and so we went to the movie
ooh,
theater and saw
okay.
the final
I didn't even know that
episode
they were
of
doing a
Stranger
theatrical
Things.
release. That's cool.
Yeah,
Ah.
yeah. It was awesome. I highly recommend if they do something like that for
Yeah.
TV shows again. It was great to have that communal experience. But
No.
yeah, how about you?
Oh,
Where were you? Were you performing or what were you doing?
I have an equally boring New Year's story, so
Oh
let's just
yes,
get.
well,
Yeah, I'm
to be
also
totally honest,
old. Stayed
normally I do
home.
take a show every year,
What did you do,
but
Marcus?
it's my girlfriend and I's like anniversary
Hmm.
also falls on the New Year's, and so this is our 4 year anniversary that was happening. So
oh,
I opted to not do a show, and instead I like stayed at home with her, and we like cooked like a
Hmm.
French meal, and then afterwards we went to one of the comedy clubs, Cheaper Than Therapy. They do like a big holiday party every year for like New Year's, so we went and hung out with a bunch of our friends. Yeah, I just
that's
hung.
awesome. Yeah,
Did
Yeah,
you perform or just
yeah,
hang?
no performing. I was like, it seems like I should just be
Okay.
spending time with the
So
lady.
good for you. I think that's you know what?
Mhm.
That's smart. That's smart. We were just talking beforehand.
yeah,
Yeah,
about that is very well adjusted. I would
yeah,
Yeah,
never
I mean,
have not worked on New
it
Year's
was
yeah.
tough as a
for
decision
anyone I
initially, but
was dating.
ultimately you make the right call.
Yeah, it's a good.
Mhm.
Can I say now, as
Mhm.
now that I'm a therapist, good job. Now that I can wear that hat, that stuff that we just want so
Yeah,
bad and feel like you can't let go of, it's not that important. Performing at the punchline
no,
on New
exactly.
Year's is not the most important thing in the world. It
Crazy
was,
topic.
but it was.
Yeah,
It actually
yeah, yeah.
back in the day. Yeah.
It was. Dan, do you want to ask the big question of Marcus
Okay,
first of
I can
all?
give you like a little
Yeah. How'd you get
backstory.
into
Like I've
comedy?
always loved stand up, and like initially my way of kind of like getting into loving it was
Hmm.
basically I was like raised by a single mom, and so my mom was like working a ton, and so during the summers and stuff I would be like home alone by myself, and my mom always had all these like VHS tapes of like
Hmm.
Eddie Murphy's like Raw and Delirious and like Richard Pryor, the Kings of Comedy. And so I used to just watch those like on repeat. I love them. Eddie Murphy's still one of my faves. So I always had a love for
Hmm.
that, and then kind of like
Hmm.
grew up watching like the Comedy Central Presents and stuff, and then like I'd always wanted to do stand up, even like from a young age. But I like even I remember back, my mom actually had shown these to me not that long ago, but back when I was in high school, I remember me and a buddy of mine, Paul, who like we both love like joking around and like comedy. We actually saw in like the newspaper that there was a comedy competition. I think it was for the SF San Francisco International Comedy Competition. We were like, "Oh, it's a comedy competition. We should do that." And so like we wrote a
Hmm.
couple of jokes and stuff, and then we were gonna do it, but then we both like ended up chickening
Hmm.
out. And so then never pursued it until like I was 25. And basically I was like in a insane relationship with this like woman who was like 14 years older than me, and that like went all kinds of crazy and sideways. So then post breakup with that, I didn't like have
Hmm.
anything else, and so I was like, I've always wanted to do this and like at least try to knock it off my bucket list, and so I ended up going to my first open mic, which was like a local open mic at this bar called Vinny's in Concord, and I ended up showing up there to like be like, oh, I want to do the open mic,
Hmm.
and turns out it was like a music only open mic, and I was like, oh, I wanted to do stand up, and the guy's like, oh, this is music only, and then
Hmm.
I'm like, my shoulders were all slumped, and I was like, okay, I guess, and as I was like walking away, the guy was like, I think he felt so bad for me that he was like, oh, you could do like 5 minutes while the other bands are like setting up or something, and so then I did that, and like obviously I bombed my dick off, but. Oh, I I enjoyed that like kind of thrill and like rush from doing that, and so then I stuck with it ever since.
Hmm.
Do you
Yeah,
remember any of the
I
jokes that you did that first
I
time?
do remember some.
Ooh,
Like I mean,
it's a
obviously
great
I've
question.
evolved way beyond that, but I had some joke about like making
Oh yeah, oh
paellas
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
how
no doubt.
expensive saffron was. I'm like buying the saffron, and it basically I was like in an abusive relationship with my wallet. Um, and I don't know. I had some a bit about crackhead strength and how like I mean, yeah, kind of. I guess
That sounds kind of funny.
there's
That's not.
some general
Sounds like it.
premises there.
Do
I think it was.
you
I
remember it?
don't fully remember the bit. I actually have the old notebook somewhere
Yeah.
in my house, so I can maybe find it. But yeah, I remember it was like some bit about like crackhead strength and how you can like hire a crackhead to do anything. Um, Well, yeah, it was all terrible.
It's
Um,
true. How long have you been in it now? Like, how long do you consider
yeah.
like you you're a full time comic? I mean, you have a day job, I know, but how long have
I
you been in it?
started like late 2018, so I'm about at like the 7 and some change years mark now. I don't, but also it's kind of, I mean, I don't know, it's like a little wacky with
Wow.
like
Hmm.
COVID,
Okay.
because like
Well, I was gonna, yeah. So,
yeah, I did
how did
online and I
were
did
you doing the
outdoor
online
shows
shows
too.
during
Like once
COVID?
we were allowed to do those, there was probably like the first maybe four, like maybe 5 months of
Yeah.
COVID. I didn't do any stand up or anything like that. But then once like people started to figure out like Zoom shows and mics and stuff, I did that, and those are terrible. I mean, there's nothing worse than like bombing because like you bomb on these Zoom shows or whatever, and like you'll have people who didn't like turn their mics off, and so you're like hearing like a couple arguing about like the dog or something while you're over there trying to like tell your jokes. And if you were to bomb like at a regular show, you can at least like leave the venue. But if you're bombing on like your computer, you just close the computer. You have to kind of sit there with yourself. So it's pretty good.
Did you do COVID shows, Joe?
I did a few, and I think the most fascinating thing about that, when I look back on it, it's one of the only times I think where the performer and the
Mm,
audience are trying to figure out the medium at the same time,
Hmm.
and it there was like a moment where we all kind of figured out how our role was supposed to be online. Like eventually people were like, "Well, yeah, you don't want to mute everything because then you don't hear laughter, but if you're going to leave your mic
yeah.
on, you can't be having domestic arguments about the dog."
Hmm.
And so everyone kind of figured that out. And I think the comics that did well, they weren't just
Hmm.
doing the regular set. Like you played with the format a little bit. You know, I was doing like my own personal weekend update because I was putting the pictures up and stuff like that, and that was fun. But then like it kind of peaked and it went away. But there's a couple like Sammy Obeid.
Oh, yeah,
He really
it's
created
like a comedy club
something that he
online,
still
kind of.
has. He has this huge network. Yeah, yeah, it's kind of
Hmm.
amazing. And there's a couple other people that did that, but yeah, for the most part, it
Oh yeah.
felt like a real poor substitute for comedy. You know, like, and nobody was happy with it. The best part though was like when the set was
Yeah.
done, I would just close my laptop and I was already
Yeah.
in bed.
Yeah, the Zoom shows were kind of interesting because yeah, you could
That
play
was the best
around with
part.
some of the things because you it was in this digital space. I think I did a show during that time like in VR once, and then because they were like VR comedy clubs, and then I also
Mm.
like did one that was inside of a video game like called Animal Crossings. So yeah, it was just strange. But then once they started doing like kind of outdoor stuff and people were like okay you can do outdoors but like socially distanced, then we like transitioned over to those too. Like a buddy of mine, this comic, David Dominguez, he started running like an outdoor open mic
Yeah.
at um at Lake Merritt in Oakland, and so we would just go to that like every day, and like occasionally like there would be people, it would start
Mm.
to build where people like knew that that was a thing.
Wow.
um and then there was also one that he would run and that we would go to pretty like most days, at it's like this park in Alameda, and that was kind of interesting because it was like it was just for the like comics, like no, he didn't advertise it or anything like that. But when we first did it, there ended up being like a bunch of these like teenagers essentially that were just like hanging out at a park, and so then they decided to come and like sit and like watch us all do our bits, and that was like that went on for like probably like 2 years, and these kids now like grown up and like we're still kind of in contact, like they go to college and stuff now. One of them came to one of my shows recently, which was very fun.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
It seems like anything
Hmm.
anything can be productive in comedy. I mean, it's the equivalent of like going on an open mic and there's a couple of drunks and one couple, and then you get a
Yeah,
feel for what a,
exactly.
as long as you know what a real laugh is, you can develop
Yeah, even if
your
there's
bit.
not
You can
anybody
move
there,
forward
I think that there's
somehow.
like some way to still get something from going to mics as long as you have like the right idea in mind of like what it is you're trying to get out of that. Like whether it's just like working on saying the pacing or like, the
Hmm.
like doing more emphasis or something on a certain line.
Hmm.
Let me ask you this: Do you feel like you're a success? Do you feel
No.
like you've reached
Actually my
some level and you feel good about it?
No,
Okay, so
yeah.
I'm sorry.
that
Oh
has
my
My
god.
girlfriend talks about this
well,
a
that
lot,
hasn't
and she says it's very
changed.
annoying.
Really?
I think this is a common thing with comics
Yeah.
in general. Is like we're very self critical, and so it's hard to like celebrate your wins and successes because you're like, oh, but then there's another thing to do, or like there's a next level to try to get to. And so like she will try to like remind me
Hmm.
sometimes, like objectively I've done like really cool things, like I've gotten to like open for people at like the Palace of Fine Arts and like those kind of things. But I think that would be really cool. But for me, at least, I'm
Hmm.
always like, yeah, but I messed up this line here, or like, that's like whatever. Like, but I could be doing something that's bigger beyond that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Yeah, Dan just nailed it. Like that hasn't changed. I mean, that's yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. Felt the
Yeah,
exact same way. Yeah.
it's very competitive, and
Yeah.
yeah, there's always the next thing, and there's also there's no
Hmm.
benefits or support or scaffolding holding us up. It's just
Hmm.
every gig that we can grab, and there's
Yeah,
always
I
yeah, it
think that
always looked
there's
to me
kind of
like there
like
was
a
someone
disease that a lot of
doing
like
better.
comics suffer from in some way because I was talking to another comedian about this recently, where like you can go up and you'll have like objectively like a really good set, but it won't feel good to you. And it's I think it's because we're all
Hmm.
constantly like judging
Hmm.
ourselves or comparing ourselves to our like last best set. And so if it doesn't feel as good as that or better, then it wasn't good. Even if every like the audience all really enjoyed themselves and like they even are complimenting you, it doesn't feel the right way. I don't know if you guys like relate to that at all.
Hmm.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The art, just being completely in the artistic zone where you are free and comfortable
Hmm.
and really feel like I really killed it.
Can you remember a time when you were on stage and you felt like either in the moment or as soon as you came off stage
Yeah.
where you're like, ah,
Yeah, I've had
ah,
those moments like plenty of
have
times.
you had that
Most
moment?
recently was like maybe a couple
Yeah.
months ago. I did this. It's a great show that's out here. It's like a variety show called the Ruckus and Rumpus Revival in Oakland. It's like it used to be known as Tourette's Without Regrets, but then the word Tourette's I think kind of went out of fashion or something. So they rebranded it to Ruckus and
Hmm.
Rumpus. But it's like a fantastic show. It's like
Right.
they'll pack it out with like maybe a few hundred people and the energy is really good and just I was able to they had me booked as the comedian for that night, and so then I went up there and like ripped it in like the way that you can like really let the laughs breathe on their own for a while, when like you almost end up like stepping on the laughter some just because you have to like give it more time to go, and that like felt
Mm,
really good afterwards because like, oh yeah, like I did that. But you may not necessarily feel that same way, even if you had like a good set at like a bar show
Hmm.
or
yeah.
something like that.
For what it's worth, the last
Hmm.
time I saw you, you were on my show Get It at Cobb's, and it was a pretty good crowd, and everyone was doing really really well. And you went up, and I've been watching you. That sounds creepy, but I've been watching you for a few years, and it seemed to me like on this particular night, for whatever reason, like there's Marcus. He's, all the little nuts and bolts that weren't quite in place, all the ideas, how to
Hmm.
present. It seemed like it gelled, and I was really like, okay, that's the guy who's gonna go forth now and conquer the world.
Hmm.
But do you have a sense of that? Do you have a sense of like, okay, I am now who I am as a comic, and
No,
now I
I
just need to
I understand,
market
and I
that
think
more,
that like
or
lots of
does
people
that
have
make
kind of
any
had
sense to
that
you?
like epiphany moment where where people feel like, oh, like something clicked and then it just changed for them. And I've heard that story. To be totally honest, dude, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Like I think that I have like a good sense of like what things I find funny and my jokes, but like I don't really know what I'm doing still because there's not really like
Yeah,
I don't think so. At least I don't feel that way
really.
personally. We're like I feel like yeah.
I think that can be good to not overanalyze it in a way. Just do your thing. If people seem to
I
be
wish I
responding
needed
well and
more
you're getting
counseling
work,
science though. I wish I could like be
then
like
yeah,
Samuel
that's
Bate
all
is
you
an
need to
example
know.
of someone who's like he is like a surgeon with like he's just done so many like I think he did like 1,000 like I remember hearing about him doing like 1,000 sets like back to back to back to back with no breaks in between, which sounds crazy. There's no way that like he was having a relationship at that time, but like you can tell that like oh this guy just like understands the mechanics in a way that
Hmm.
like other people don't, and so like
I remember I
mhm.
remember watching him. He was like 17 or 18, and he was on stage at Rooster Teeth Feathers in that competition, and you could see then that there was somebody there. There was a personality there. Uh, he didn't have it figured out yet, but you could see there was like real determination, and I think that yeah, I mean he is just a guy that decided I'm just going to perform every night all the time, and yeah, he definitely got the benefit of that. But I do wonder. I mean, he's one of the guys that I've reached out to, and hopefully we'll get him one of these days. I am curious. Like, what kind of a life do you have if everything is stand up? Because I know when I was young and I was on the scene in
Yeah.
San Francisco, I pursued it at the exclusion of everything. Now I look back and I'm like, oh, I have some regrets about that. But what? Let me ask you this though, because it's fascinating to me to hear you say you don't feel like you get it. Because I feel like, oh, yeah, there's a guy who gets it. What's next? Like, are you moving New York, L.A.? Are you doubling down on social media? Like,
Yes, I mean
is
the
there a
main thing that
bigger
I want
plan
is
in
I
your
want to
head?
like write and create my own like comedies and and TV shows. But yeah, the current like steps at least that I have in place for
Hmm.
myself is to like double down on social media. And I like kind of thought and was like weighing the whole like moving situation, but after having worked with a few different headliners and like talked to some of my friends that have moved, I got this piece of advice like pretty consistently from like a lot of different headliners that I worked with, which was basically like if you have the ability to like have lots of stage time and to continue to like hone your craft, you should really hold on to that because it you know
Hmm.
it becomes a lot harder once you move, even for people that are big dogs with like lots of credits. And they were saying
Hmm.
instead, what you should do
Yeah.
is yeah,
Hmm.
utilize this time that you have with like all the stage time to continue growing, and then also whatever it is that you want to do, whether it is you want to do like TV or shows, or you want to just be like a really big comic, invest in the online and build whatever you want to build like here locally. And then all the industry comes to you because like the whole landscape has kind of changed
Hmm.
now in a way like before
Hmm.
you had to be
Yeah.
where the industry is at, but now the industry will come to you. And like I've even seen that to some extent where like I've had a few like videos online that have like blown up and like done over 1 million, and I've had like people from like America's Got Talent or like some ABC things like reach out to me via email. And so like at least so it kind of like it confirmed
Wow.
that for myself
Hmm.
that like okay, this is the path here. So for me, what I want to do is like I've written some scripts for what I believe to be like a good comedy sitcom, and so I want to start doing like a web series. So that way, the web series like is shown as like a proof of concept, so that
Oh yeah.
when I can bring these scripts and ideas to people, they can see that it actually works and it is translates as funny. Yeah,
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah. So that's kind
Proof
of
of concept. I like that.
yeah, I
So it
mean
could
that's like kind of the
have
thing because I have
something
friends that have like done like
ready.
JFL and everything, but and they've talked to me some about the whole process, which is basically like you go to JFL like Montreal, and you'll have these industry people that'll come to you, but then they'll ask you what's next because it's stand up. You don't really make that much money in unless you're like selling
Hmm.
out like theaters or something, and so they'll ask you like what's your next steps, how so you have to already kind of come prepared if you want to like hit the ground running.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
So much
that hasn't
different.
changed. I mean, well, it's yes and no
It,
though. You know what I mean? Like it's
yeah,
because
yeah.
we were trying to get to those things back in the day,
Hmm.
and
There
that was
was we
always
were
the
just
advice.
waiting for gatekeepers to say yes. We did.
Yeah.
Joe and
No, I
I.
think
Do they
that's
still
actually
have
kind of
industry nights at
gone.
like
I
the
think that
Punchline?
very, very
Or
occasionally. I think since
no?
I've been past the punchline for like, which has been like almost 3 years now, I think that industry has come once.
Oh, okay, so Joe and I, it would be whatever. Dave Becky, Dave Rath. Those were the two people we knew of. They're coming. We would lose our mind. I got to get on it. I got to get noticed. But we didn't
Yeah.
even know what we were trying to accomplish.
I mean,
Do you know what I just
I got
maybe
on I got on
he'll
Comedy
save me.
Central because of just one set though, and it was
Hmm.
like, hey, we want to see people for Comedy Central's live at Gotham, and
Hmm.
there was a couple
Right, and then it's like an
yeah,
audition. You
and it's
can
like an
you can get
audition,
on there.
and
Yeah.
it was just one set, and then a couple months later we got the phone call, and I always felt like, man, I wish there was more of that. still around in the industry because it should be that easy. It should be, but then
Didn't
Right.
again,
even exist
Comedy
before,
Central's not
like
as
as a
important,
like a
and
stand
you
up
know,
Yeah.
avenue
you
like at
Different
all.
yeah,
landscape.
It's just movies.
no,
So,
no.
Marcus, what's the most important
The most
place to
important
be as a stand-up?
it's
Where do you want to
online.
get
That's
exposure?
like
Online or on
ultimately
TV or
like you guys were talking about gatekeepers. Gatekeepers still
uh-huh.
exist to some extent, but the real like gatekeeper now is basically like a following. So if you're not able to like build one to in some way, then
Hmm.
that's gonna gatekeep you from other opportunities. Like a great example is of most recently is you guys know about Cam Patterson at all? He's like a black comic who he was like,
Mm-mm.
he worked the
No.
door at Rogan's Club, and he did the Kill Tony, and he just it was like Kill Tony. I think is like what like a 1 minute set or something like
Mm.
that,
Hmm.
and so he did like 1 minute on Kill Tony, and it blew up online. He immediately got all these followers, and as somebody who was like only like maybe like I want to say like 5 years into comedy, he was able to build a giant following, which allowed him to go do like
Hmm.
theater tours, and then from there, SNL picked him up, and so he's like on SNL now as like one of their like lead
Mm.
actors
Wow.
or performers.
So
Jesus,
I
yeah,
Yes, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
wow.
and
Yeah,
I
he's definitely
so
talented
and he's talented,
and
right?
hardworking in his own right,
You
but
know.
the
And
like being online is now the most important place to be.
do you feel like
Go ahead.
you like back in the day, right? We used to make fun of the comedians who had flyers for
That
shows.
were promoting
They were
themselves.
promoting
Like
themselves, and it was
you
like the
right,
better
you're
the
promoting
flyer.
yourself because you can't get on
Yeah, yeah,
at Cobb's and the Punchline.
and that seems so ridiculous to me
It
now
is
because
ridiculous. We were
Yeah.
wrong
we
then
were
because
wrong then. Yeah, yeah,
we were
yeah,
performing for free,
yeah.
but that's all we knew.
How much time do you spend as a
Um,
promoter as
I
opposed
don't
to a
know. It's
performer?
probably like I would say like maybe 80-20, like 80 a performer, 20 a promoter. Yeah. But I know
Hmm.
that there are a lot
Okay, that's
but
how I think that's a good
I'm
mix.
not hitting it as hard as like
Yeah.
some others that I know. And you can
What does it take to hit it hard? Is it a technical
I
proficiency?
would
Is it
think that like
investing
one
money? Is
there's the
what?
money aspect cuz like it does reap benefits to go and do festivals. Not all festivals. Most festivals like suck and they're just like, it's more of a like fun vacation opportunity. But then there's other festivals that legitimately
Hmm.
do have industry and like can change your trajectory of your career. So there's like money aspect there, obviously, and yeah, I feel like comedians and money don't really go hand in hand all the time. But there is like a level of like
Hmm.
monetary
Yeah.
investment, and then there's also like the investment of time for like because you have to like edit like the being a comic isn't just only being a comedian these days because you're like a comedian, you're also a video editor, and you're also you know a digital marketer, and so
Hmm.
oh yeah,
And that stuff takes a lot of time. And is your average
I
is
mean,
your average
anyone that is
comedian
like doing
working
well online. I mean, that's
diligently
why
at
like a
that?
lot of I got to open for like a really big comic who had like he's got like 500,000 followers online, and when you see like once you're at that level, there's like a whole production. Like
Hmm.
he has two videographers on payroll. He's got a guy who like handles merch. He's also got like his like tour
Wow.
manager, and he's got a marketing guy, and he's also got like a photographer too. So it's like this whole entire like machine that's operating at all times. And
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
oh,
did
I
you
just
get
got that
that
gig from word
gig
of
because
mouth.
of
I
your
mean, still
followers, or
like
how did you
in
get
terms of
that
like
gig?
interpersonal work from comics, I think that like it's
Hmm.
still a very social relationship kind of thing. So like word of mouth, like, oh hey, I'm traveling to this town. Like you worked with somebody before,
Hmm.
and like they'll be like, oh, I'm traveling to this town. Do you know any good comedians in this area? And so then they'll like link you to different people. So I've gotten work from that. Just you still get a lot of your work from other
Hmm.
comics without having to do like the online thing.
Right. Right. And how important is it? So again,
Mhm.
when we started, everything was about working your way up in the clubs. How much focus is on that?
It's
Just getting booked by, is it still Molly
So Molly books
and
the
opening at the
headliners for
Punch
like
and
live. I
then
think she's like the head of
featuring?
like Live Nation Comedy West now. The person that books like the hosts and features is Ron Vi.
Hmm.
Yeah, and so yeah, I mean, as a
Boss,
Bay
yeah.
Area comic, the most important thing in the world is like getting past at the punchline, at least for your like first like level steps. That you work towards that because it's a long process. At least
Yeah.
takes like a few
Hmm.
years to get
Okay.
past a punch. But yeah, you get past the like punch, and then the other like local clubs like the
Hmm.
Improv and Roosters and stuff, and so that's still like very important. But then beyond that, like, and
Hmm.
from getting to work at those clubs, they get you access to headliners, and even if it's not like they'll take you on the road or something, they'll usually like hit you up if they're coming back into town for gigs, or it's still a great opportunity to be able to pick their brain,
Hmm.
about like, their process in the industry and like how they get certain jobs and those kind of
Hmm.
things. And usually they're pretty cool about it. Yeah, because they're young.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was some words of wisdom either of you got from when you were
I
a young
mean,
comic, got
the
from a
most
headliner
recent
that
ones that I've
stuck?
gotten is kind of the whole like focus online and build here. Um, but then there's other stuff of like I didn't know what like writing a packet
Hmm.
was to like submit for shows, and so I've had headliners tell me like, oh, you should learn how to like put a packet together of like some of your writing samples and like sketches and things like that, and
Hmm.
um, I've had ones that have told me like, oh, you should figure out a way to like do more stories or like there's like even technical tweaks on jokes.
Hmm.
Joe, what's some? How about you?
Get out of the business. That's probably the best. No, no, I mean, I'm listening to everything that you're saying, and it's remarkable how so much of it has not changed.
Hmm.
Just
Yeah.
yeah, you're trying to get into the clubs because that's where the business really is. Because you're working with people who you think are established. They're the headliner, and yeah, they're giving you advice about how to get bigger, how to put your stuff together. And I think that was the thing. Like Dan and I have talked endlessly about this. Like when we were coming up in San Francisco, there was a huge focus on the
Mhm.
art and craft of stand up, and we were allowed to indulge in that. But there was no mentorship and nobody talking to us about the business end of
Because there
stand
kind
up
of was none.
because there was none
It
at that time.
it had
Yeah.
hit a wall. If you went in, I remember hearing about this. If you somehow got a meeting in L.A. or don't tell them you want to be a stand-up comedian
Yeah.
because that doesn't. What does that even mean?
Yeah. They're not
At
interested
that
then.
point, there was Seinfeld, Ellen, and maybe Ray Romano who had their thing. Other than that, there was no following. All the big, the guys we opened for were Chappelle and Louis C.K. and a lot of those guys, Dana Gould, David Tell.
Hmm.
When we were opening for them, none of them put one butt in a seat. I mean, it was true, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, it was. I
It
mean,
was all strangers. There was,
they were all on their way up still, and I mean,
yeah,
Chappelle was definitely a known quantity, but and Louis C.K. definitely had
kind
a
of.
following, but yeah, I mean, they were.
Not really. No, Louis C. No, he did not. When I opened for him at the old Cobb's,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
zip.
yeah. I mean, but again, that just
But they had
demonstrates.
their packet and they were
Yeah,
doing
yeah, they
things
were
and
doing
going
things, and
places.
but it's remarkable how it you really now more than ever you can't just be a stand-up comic. You can't be really good on stage. You can't have just great jokes. You have to be a full-time film editor. You have to be a marketer. I mean, that's just become a bigger part of it, which is remarkable to me. And then occasionally you see someone who's succeeding and they've got everything. They're really good at packaging, but they're also really good on stage. So on a let's land on a positive note. What's the thing that you've achieved so far that you're most proudest of? I mean, you can say this podcast. I mean, you
Yeah,
know,
it's all
I
right. It's all right.
mean,
We
it's all
won't,
doing
right. We
the
won't,
I,
you
be
know.
I did
embarrassed or
the
anything.
San Francisco comedy competition and made it to the finals, and that was just cool because you get to do the Luther Burbank Theater, which is like 1,800
Mm.
seats, and like being able to,
Yeah,
oh, it's amazing. I mean,
that is the greatest
it
comedy
made like
venue
it felt so
ever.
good doing that I was like, I
Definitely.
understand how celebrities become monsters, because I'm just like, no one should be able to have this many people be like, you're amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I could be
Yeah,
a
so
fucking
like I
dick.
think that was like pretty
Did this
amazing just to be
enough.
like, oh, I
Yeah,
can make
yeah.
this many people laugh like in mass, like and they're all enjoying like what I'm talking about and saying on stage. So that was really a really cool like unique experience, and I'm like forever happy for that.
Yeah, yeah. That's.
Hmm.
I remember feeling the same way when I did that.
I know.
It's always amazing to me that
The
that is
finals
in the
days,
semifinals and
the
not the
old folks
finals of the
come
competition.
Hmm.
That should be like
in.
the
Yeah.
final
Boy,
night or
that's the
something.
same. It's still that way.
Still, that's still that way. Still that way. It hasn't changed.
I
Yeah.
remember driving up. Yeah, that was a big night for me. I remember
Hmm.
driving up to Luther Burbank, and there were like
Yeah.
attendants. There's like people
Yeah.
with
Yeah. Yeah.
lights
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and
directing,
especially in
and
the
Yeah.
back,
oh
they're
Yeah.
like,
yeah,
oh,
I'm a
this super
comedian, and
teacher. Yeah, so
that
that
was
felt really
some
good.
cool shit, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
staff. People are working.
Yeah, I remember we were all a little upset because there's like a giant green room area, but we weren't allowed to go into this one room because they were like refurbishing it or something. And we were like, why can't we go in there? And then on the door, they had just put the fresh plaque
Mhm.
for Olivia Newton-John. That was like
Uh,
her commemorative dressing room because I guess she would come there a lot. And half the comics are like, Olivia Newton, who? And like Dan, you would know Grease. I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
But anyway, Marcus, thank you for being
it's
our
a pleasure.
first
Yes,
Very
comedian
happy.
on this.
yeah. Really appreciate it.
And yeah, you nailed exactly what we're looking for. Just like a thoughtful, real talk about the experience of being a stand-up comedian. And man, I wish you nothing but continued success because I've enjoyed watching you. I've enjoyed seeing you grow. And honestly, if you don't realize it, I hope you take time to like go, hey, yeah, I'm one of the. You are one of the few San Francisco
Oh, thank
comedians
you
that is
so
like
much,
out
Joe. That
there
that actually really
representing
means a
in the
lot
best
to
possible way.
me, especially coming from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I look forward to
And
seeing
come
you.
back and
Yeah,
tell.
I'll
I
be
didn't even
back.
get to ask you about being a
And thanks
teacher.
again,
We'll talk
guys.
about that next
Oh
time.
yeah,
All
we'll
right.
have you back. All right, man. Thank you. Take
Nice to
care.
meet you. All
All
right. Good
right.
kid.
Good. Yeah. Yeah.